So when we look at a data set, we can see what the unit of measurement is by looking at arbitrary row of the spreadsheet. Other than the top row is typically the column headers, the category names, variable names. But after that, each row should be some part of the data set. In this case, for example, we see we have a hospital name here, facility ID. At this point, you might not be able to tell if the unit of analysis is a hospital until you get to this category here where you say female, and we see this is patient gender, and that really tells us that this row is a particular patient, is an individual person. We can also see here their age. These both tell us that we're dealing with an individual patient here. It's kind of interesting. They don't have a ID number on the patient. What I would typically do, if there isn't one, I would type in maybe something like case ID, just for keeping records later, referring to, if you do a couple of them and then just click sheets in Google, typically pick up on that pattern you're trying to do. Then you have a case ID. It's just a good idea in general. So this one is patient level data that we're being given. Here's an example of something that's not patient level data. So here, if we look at a single row, this does not represent a single patient. Here we're looking at drug overdose deaths, and what a row here would be, well, in this case it's all the females in a particular year that died of any kind of overdose death. And then notice here, this row is all the males. This is all the females that are dying of an opioid death. So here the rows really don't even have any consistency. This is a very useful table. It's interesting. We could even turn it into a data visualization. There's different kinds of things we could do, but most of the statistical analyses we wouldn't do on something like this. This is somewhere in between. So here, if we look at each row in the spreadsheet, each one is a county in Indiana, and it's telling us something about the county. And in this case, it was dealing with HIV and AIDS. The nice thing about this is each row does represent the same unit of analysis. It's not a person, not an individual person. It's a county total. But that opens the door for some types of statistical analyses. Not quite as many as the patient level would, but certainly more than we would see where the rows aren't even any consistent thing being measured.